Here are the top stories for today, March 26, 2021. The government allows 10% capacity in churches as for the Holy Week. Religious gatherings can only be held once a day from Monday, Thursday to Easter Sunday. Hoping for the best, President Rodrigo Duterte wishes for an end to the pandemic ahead of his 76th birthday on March 28. Yes to more aid. The palace says funds from the Bayanihan 1 and 2 laws would have to be used up before giving another round of financial relief to the poor. And from impairment to achievement, a woman proves that she can be the queen of the dance floor on her wheels. Good day, I'm Marita Muaje. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. We start with a hallelujah for the faithful. The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases has now allowed religious gatherings at 10% capacity for the Holy Week. Under the policy, religious groups can only hold gatherings once a day from Monday, Thursday to Easter Sunday. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says those who wish to physically attend the Mass should register first. All audio-visual feed outside the churches are temporarily prohibited to prevent gathering of people. The Philippine National Police is directed to ensure that the health and safety protocols are observed during these activities as the surge in COVID-19 cases in the past days show no signs of abating. As President Rodrigo Duterte turns 76 on Sunday, March 28, he wishes nothing more than the end to the pandemic. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the president is hoping that life will go back to normal so his administration could focus on reviving the economy back to pre-crisis levels. President Duterte usually celebrates his birthdays in his hometown in Davao City, except last year when he opted to spend it in Manila to oversee pandemic response efforts.
Well, I'm sure the President wishes an end to this pandemic at nais po niyang lahat tayo ay makabalik po sa buhay nating mga normal. Despite COVID, I'm sure ang kanyang birthday wish ay matupad pa rin yung mas komportableng buhay, yung makabangon ng lahat mula dito sa pandemya nito.
Malacanang is supporting the proposal of Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo to provide more financial assistance to poor Filipinos. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque assures that the government will continue to provide aid for the indigent Filipinos to help them cope with the current pandemic. He also said the government would only push for the passage of the proposed Bayanihan to Arise as One Act or the Bayanihan 3 in case it no longer has sufficient funds to provide the financial assistance for the poor families. Under the proposed Bayanihan 3, a 420 billion peso fund will be allocated for the COVID-19 response and recovery interventions. This includes a 1,000 peso allowance for each student and 8,000 pesos for every displaced workers. Each household members will also receive 1,000 pesos regardless of their economic status.
Sumasang-ayon po kami kay Senator Bongo, pero ang kinakailangan po munang gawin ay unang-una siguraduhin ng mga pondo na linaan para sa subsidies sa ilalim ng Bayanihan 2 ay mapadistribute na sa kanilang mga beneficiaries. Na kung hindi po sapat yung nasa Bayanihan 2 at saka nasa 2021 budget, pwede naman po pag-usapan ang Bayanihan 3, pero ubusin po muna natin itong mga salapi na nakalaan dito sa Bayanihan 2 at sa 2021 budget.
Local government units in Metro Manila continue to ramp up vaccination for medical frontliners. This is to ensure that the next in the priority list will also get their COVID-19 vaccine on time. In Manila, the city government is urging frontline health workers or those in the A1 priority list to get vaccinated against COVID-19, as the local government does not have much time to wait for them. Only medical frontliners who contracted COVID-19 and cannot be vaccinated yet can still get their shots past their schedules. Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso said the city will next attend to A2 beneficiaries or senior citizens, even if there are still some on the A1 list who did not avail of the jobs. In Quezon City, the local government is calling on its A1 priority list members to pre-register to receive their first doses of the COVID-19 jobs. Registrations can be made through app.easyconsult.io/sign-up. The next dates of COVID-19 vaccination will be announced once more doses arrive. Meanwhile, at least 4,000 healthcare workers have already been vaccinated against COVID-19 in Mandaluyong City. Mayor Menchi Abalos visited various vaccination sites in the city to make sure that procedures and the prioritization list are being followed. And in San Juan City, the local government distributes its 16th wave of food packs, consisting of 45,000 packs starting today. Mayor Francis Zamora likewise urged all doctors, private healthcare workers, and dentists residing in the city to sign up for San Juan's vaccination campaign. More quarantine control points will be put up along Central Luzon expressways as part of the effort against the rising cases of COVID-19. Laid Kabagani gives us an update on the quarantine control points as well as travel guidelines in the north.
The Police Regional Office in Central Luzon has put up more quarantine control points to ensure the enforcement of strict border control measures. QCPs are all located at all exits to the North Luzon Expressway as well as Subic-Clark-Tarlac Expressway and Tarlac-Pangasinan-La Union Expressway. Meanwhile, other areas with quarantine control points are Doña Remedios Trinidad Highway, Barangay Bulwalto San Miguel, Bulacan and Gapan, Nueva Ecija, Barangay San Roque Road, Baliwag, Bulacan and Candaba, Pampanga, MacArthur Highway, Barangay Gatbuka, Kalumpit, Bulacan and Apalit, Pampanga, Barangay San Pascual, Hagonoy, Bulacan and Sapangkawayan, Masantol, Pampanga, Pulilan Exit, Santa Rita Exit, Bukawi Exit, Fuel Arena Exit, Mekawayan Exit and Marilao Exit. Only those who are providing basic services, daily essentials, essential goods, utilities, and other authorized personnel are allowed to enter and exit the boundaries of each city or municipality in the province. In Pampanga, random inspection are being conducted on all public utility jeepneys to ensure that minimum health protocols such as properly wearing of face masks and face shields are being followed. PUJ drivers are also urged to properly fix the plastic barriers installed in their vehicles to reduce the spread of the virus. The Land Transportation Office said they deployed their personnel to check on the compliance of drivers and passengers to minimize the spread of COVID-19 disease. In Ilocos Norte, non-residents with indispensable travel are no longer allowed to enter the province, following the current declaration of emergency shielding in Ilocos Sur. The province has also shortened the validity of swab tests for non-resident frequent border crosser to 1 week from its 2-week validity. Returning residents are strongly recommended to minimize their movement for the first week upon returning to the province. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Laid Kabagani.
Still to come, help from the Ilocanos. The DOH Region 1 sends more medical workers to Metro Manila as it battles a surge in COVID-19 cases. And vacant no more, the Archdiocese of Manila has a new head. Details ahead. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat. mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Vaccine rollout continues for frontline medical workers in the province. William Theo will give us an update on the ongoing inoculation drive for health workers.
Barangay health workers and medical frontliners started receiving COVID-19 vaccines in Tarlac City. Mayor Christy Angeles said some 1,086 vials of AstraZeneca vaccines were provided by the Department of Health to the city for medical workers. One vial is good for at least 10 full doses. Angeles said the inoculation of the medical frontliners from the City Health Office, City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, and barangay health workers, which started on Thursday, is targeted to finish within 3 days. In Sarangani Province, an innovative online system has been developed to speed up the pre-registration of its residents for the anticipated mass vaccination against COVID-19. Mayor Vivian Yap of Glan said they have started the initial deployment of the data vault in preparation for the rollout of the vaccines in the area. She said the app is mainly an online pre-registration tool that captures the health declaration of residents who will be receiving the shots, as vaccine recipients could still be infected with COVID-19 and become asymptomatic. Meanwhile, in Ilocos Norte, 89.7% of its 2,359 eligible healthcare workers have already been inoculated with COVID-19 jabs. 1,941 of them received Sinovac, while 175 got the AstraZeneca vaccines. And in South Cotabato, the provincial government is targeting to complete by next month the inoculation of its priority frontline healthcare workers. A total of 8,826 doses of Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines have been delivered to the province in 4 tranches since March 6. Dr. Rogelio Artudido Jr. of the Integrated Provincial Health Office said they are continually encouraging all frontline health workers in the province to get vaccinated to ensure their protection as they continue to handle COVID-19 patients. For the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo.
The Department of Health Center for Health and Development in the Ilocos region is set to dispatch volunteer doctors and nurses to assist fellow medical workers in the NCR Plus bubble. This after the DOH called for reinforcements to augment its frontliners facing overwhelming numbers of COVID-19 cases in Metro Manila, Laguna, Bulacan, Cavite, and Batangas. The DOH has so far enlisted 28 enlisted volunteers. DOH CHD1 Information Officer Dr. Riuel Bobby said the medical frontliners will be dispatched as soon as possible. Once deployed, the volunteers will be sent to COVID-19 referral centers such as the Lung Center of the Philippines, Philippine General Hospital, San Lazaro Hospital, and others. Pope Francis has named Capiz Archbishop Jose Cardinal Advincula as the new Archbishop of Manila. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines reported that the appointment was made public on Thursday night, the feast of the Annunciation of the Lord. Advincula will succeed Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle, who is serving as the prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples in the Vatican. He is the 33rd Archbishop of Manila. Advincula was born on March 30, 1952 in Dumalag Town, Capiz. He was ordained a priest for the Archdiocese in 1976. He was appointed Bishop of San Carlos in 2001 and was transferred to Capiz in 2011 after the retirement of Archbishop Onisim Cordoncillo. In October 2020, the Holy Father announced the appointment of Advincula as among the 12 new cardinals. Meanwhile, the Manila Archdiocese has ordered the abolition of the charging of fixed rates or the arancel system for baptism, confirmation, and offering of mass intentions in all its churches starting next month. This in response to the pastoral letter on stewardship and the abolition of the arancel system issued by the bishops of the Ecclesiastical Province of Manila in 2017. The CBCP reiterated this commitment in line with the celebration of the 500th anniversary of the arrival of Christianity in the Philippines. Manila Apostolic Administrator Bishop Broderick Pabilio, however, said donations from the faithful are encouraged. The registration for the National Identification System continued on Thursday in Samal, Bataan without any hitches. Applicants lined up early at the Samal High School Annex to register for Step 2 of the Philippine Identification System or PhilSys. Supervisor Daisy May Buenaventura said they started the Step 2 process in Samal last month and had registered some 5,200 out of the target of 8,900 applicants. She said PhilSys targets to register 70% of the total population by the end of 2021. The applicants finished PhilSys Step 1 registration last year. The Philippine Identification System Act aims to establish a single national ID for all Filipinos and resident aliens. The national ID will be a valid proof of identity that shall be a means of simplifying transactions, enrollment in schools, opening of bank accounts, and availing of government services. In our business news, the Board of Investments is in discussion with 6 companies for the local production of COVID-19 vaccines. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez said this is to ensure the country no longer depends on imports for the vaccine in the future. Earlier, Filipino pharmaceutical firm Glovax Biotech said it is in talks with the BOI to produce the U-Corvac 19 in the country with its Korean partner. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. said Serum Institute of India also aims Philippine production of its COVID-19 vaccine. Lopez said the BOI has been inviting investors to locate in the country to generate more local jobs and help the economy recover. The BOI is also pushing for product localization, aligning to the government's Buy Local, Go Local campaign. Up next, New Zealand, Canada, and the European Union have some pointed words over China's actions in the West Philippine Sea. And this Filipina proves that not even her disability can prevent her from pursuing her love for dancing. We're back after a quick break. Stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The European Union and New Zealand joined calls to preserve what they called a rules-based order in the South China Sea amid the continued presence of Chinese ships at the Julian Felipe Reef. EU Ambassador to Manila Luc Veron stressed the need for all parties to adhere to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea or UNCLOS. In a related statement, High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Joseph Borrell said they cannot allow countries to unilaterally undermine international law and maritime security in the South China Sea. Meanwhile, at the 28th New Zealand-ASEAN Dialogue last March 23, New Zealand called for cooler heads to build trust and confidence while echoing calls for UNCLOS adherence. Manila reiterated its objection over the continued provocative presence of Chinese vessels at the Julian Felipe Reef. The Canadian government has more pointed words for China as it slammed Beijing's action in the South China Sea. Canadian Ambassador to the Philippines Peter MacArthur said Beijing's action escalate tensions and undermine regional stability and the rules-based international order. Canada follows the position of several other nations such as Japan, Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States, who also aired concerns over the current South China Sea situation. The Philippines and South Korea will continue to have strong ties in maritime security and naval cooperation. This commitment was made following the introductory call of Ambassador of the Republic of Korea Kim In-chul to Philippine Navy Chief Vice Admiral Giovanni Carlo Bacordo at the Navy headquarters in Manila on Wednesday. Bacordo said they discussed the enhancement of naval cooperation efforts. Among them are the Navy-to-Navy talks, student officer exchange, the personal protective equipment and medical equipment donations, and the regular meeting procedures and passing exercises. Bacordo said the South Korean envoy also offered technical support of assets, education and training, and other capability development programs. SO's offer includes the acquisition of an additional Pohang-class corvette. The Navy previously received its first two guided missile frigates, the BRP Jose Rizal and BRP Antonio Luna from South Korean shipbuilder Hyundai Heavy Industries. South Korea also donated a Pohang-class corvette to the Navy, which was later renamed the BRP Conrado Yap. Outgoing Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta also wishes for the end of the pandemic as he bows out of the judiciary after serving for over 3 decades. The country's top judge will retire from the service as he turns 69 tomorrow. In his final message as top magistrate, Peralta says he will leave the Supreme Court with no regrets as he spared no effort to uphold the law, protect the courts, and fulfill his duty. Peralta was appointed by President Rodrigo Duterte in October 2019 as the Supreme Court's 26th Chief Justice. He served as a prosecutor, a trial court judge, and a justice of the Sandigan Bayan before being named to the High Court by former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo in 2009. Among candidates for the Chief Justice post to be vacated by Peralta are Associate Justices Estela Perlas Bernabe, Alexander Hesmundo, and Ramon Paul Hernando. The world joins hands to address climate change as they celebrate Earth Hour on March 27. Environment Secretary Roy Cemato is calling on all Filipinos to participate in the global movement. The worldwide event will be observed in the Philippines from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. During Earth Hour, lights and other energy-consuming devices would be turned off for 1 hour as a symbolic show of concern for the environment. Cemato said that beyond this symbolic action, Filipinos should reduce electrical consumption to lessen carbon footprint and emissions, which are major causes of climate change. He also proposed shifting to renewable sources of energy such as solar technology and use of light-emitting diode light bulbs. Cemato said while the DNR addresses deforestation, plastic pollution, and illegal wildlife trade, Filipinos are also encouraged to do their share. And we wrap the week with the story of another Filipina worthy of emulation. Not even disability and the pandemic can stop her from pursuing her love for dancing. Jenny Scave tells us how this woman got a great chance in life through dance.
When life seems so hard, many would probably say, just dance to its tune. But what if your life's tune is harder than expected to begin with? For 21-year-old Anne Charlene Santos, born with physical impairment due to lumbar meningocele, the answer is just go on with her wheelchair. From trying hip-hop and modern dance, Santos decided to try para dancing to get out of her comfort zone. For Santos, para dancing helped her boost self-confidence.
Yung iba nahihiya sila because of their disability, hindi sila confident sa mga gusto nilang gawin. I want to remind you na hindi dapat kinakahiya yung mga ganyang sitwasyon. Hindi mo alam kung sino o ilan yung pwede mong ma-inspire sa story mo, sa mga ginagawa mo.
Of course, there is no easy start for everything, but through perseverance, her constant practice of postures and hand gestures paid off. Not even the pandemic stopped her from driving to greater opportunities. Earlier this month, her team was invited as a guest in a virtual para-dance sport event in Taiwan. She also joined the freestyle category in Taiwan's para-dance sport competition. Formerly called wheelchair dancing, para-dancing started in Sweden in 1968 for recreational and rehabilitation purposes for persons with disability. For Santos, no disability is greater than her desire to rise above life's adversities as she holds on to the promises of the Almighty.
Jeremiah 29:11 it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future." So, this is my motivation na alam ko na may magandang plano si Lord for me. And hindi porket I have this disability is wala na akong magandang future.
For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Here's another look at today's biggest stories. The government allows 10% capacity in churches as for the Holy Week. Religious gatherings can only be held once a day from Monday, Thursday to Easter Sunday. Hoping for the best, President Rodrigo Duterte wishes for an end to the pandemic ahead of his 76th birthday on March 28. Yes to more aid. The palace says funds from the Bayanihan 1 and 2 laws would have to be used up before giving another round of financial relief to the poor. And from impairment to achievement, a woman proves that she can be the queen of the dance floor on her wheels. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, visit our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that inspire change. I'm Marita Muaje. Have a good day.